The space station Crossroads floated silently in the void between 3 star systems. Inside its massive halls, delegates from 12 different species gathered for the most important peace talks in a century. The air hummed with translation devices working overtime as beings who had fought wars for generations now sat at the same table. Tom Walker adjusted his simple blue uniform and tried not to stare at the alien delegates around the conference room. As Earth's representative, he felt out of place among beings who controlled entire star systems. His home planet had only joined Galactic Society 5 years ago, and most species still saw humans as newcomers who knew nothing about real warfare. At the head of the crystal table sat Princess Vex of the Corvani Empire. She stood nearly 8 feet tall, with silver skin that seemed to glow under the station lights. Her long white hair was braided with metal threads that marked her royal status. Her arms moved with practiced grace as she reviewed data tablets, each movement precise and controlled. The Corvani were known throughout the galaxy as master warriors who had never lost a major battle. The mining rights to the Theta sector belonged to those strong enough to hold them, Princess Vex declared, her voice carrying easily across the room. My people have claimed that system through conquest. We will not surrender it to lesser species who lack the strength to take it. Ambassador Chen, the lead human diplomat, leaned forward. Princess Vex, we propose a more peaceful solution. The Theta sector contains enough resources for multiple species to benefit. Sharing would prevent unnecessary conflict. Vex laughed, a sound like metal bells ringing. Humans always speak of sharing in peace. Your species survived on a single world for thousands of years because you could not reach beyond it. Now you expect us to treat you as equals. Tom felt heat rise in his chest. He had fought pirates in 3 different systems and seen human courage save entire colonies. The princess spoke about his people like they were children playing with toys. Your Highness, Tom said, standing up from his chair. With respect, you might be surprised what humans can accomplish when given the chance. The room fell silent. Several alien delegates made shocked sounds at the interruption. Princess Vex turned all 4 of her bright blue eyes toward Tom, studying him like a fascinating insect. You are the human fighter pilot, correct? She asked. Tom Walker of Earth Fleet. Yes, Your Highness. I have read reports of your battles against the Razak pirates. Impressive for a human, though your tactics lack proper discipline. Corvani warriors would have ended those conflicts in half the time using established military doctrine. Tom kept his voice steady. Different situations call for different approaches. Sometimes the established way isn't the best way. Princess Vex stood to her full height, towering over the human. Are you suggesting that your primitive tactics are superior to thousands of years of Corvani military science? I'm suggesting that adaptability has its own value in combat. The princess moved closer, her silver skin seeming to gleam brighter. Perhaps you would like to prove this theory. The Corvani have an ancient tradition for settling such disagreements. A combat trial between champions. Ambassador Chen stepped forward quickly. Princess, I don't think that's necessary. We can resolve this through discussion. No, Vex said, raising one hand. The human questions our methods. Let him face me in honorable combat and prove his words have meaning. Tom looked around the room. Every alien delegate watched with intense curiosity. Some seemed excited by the prospect of violence, while others appeared worried about what might happen to the peace talks. What would be the terms? Tom asked. Princess Vex smiled, showing teeth that gleamed like polished metal. If I win, humanity withdraws all claims to the Theta sector and accepts junior status in future negotiations. Your species will be seen as what you truly are, newcomers who must learn their place. And if I win? You will not win. But if somehow you do, I will follow the ancient law of Corvani honor. For 7 rotations, I will serve you as the defeated must serve the victor. I will share your quarters, eat at your table, and acknowledge your superiority in all things. It is the deepest humiliation possible for one of royal blood. Gasps echoed around the room. The other alien delegates began speaking rapidly in their own languages. Tom heard his translator device working hard to keep up with multiple conversations happening at once. "Princess," called out Ambassador Thel of the Zorvok Federation, "no outsider has ever been offered such a wager. The cultural implications are extraordinary." "Which is why the human will refuse," Vex replied. "He knows he cannot face a true warrior and survive." Tom thought about his options. Accepting meant risking not just his life, but humanity's future in galactic politics. Refusing would confirm every negative opinion the aliens held about human courage. But maybe, just maybe, he could find a way to surprise them all. "I accept," Tom said. The room erupted in shocked voices. Ambassador Chen grabbed Tom's arm. "Tom, you don't understand what you're agreeing to. This could destroy everything we've worked for. Or it could change everything," Tom replied quietly. "Trust me." Princess Vex clapped her 4 hands together, creating a sound like thunder. "Excellent. The combat trial will take place in 1 hour in the station's training facility. Zero-gravity environment, traditional Corvani energy weapons, fight until surrender or incapacitation. Witnesses from all species will observe to ensure honor is maintained." As the delegates filed out to prepare for the combat trial, Tom remained in his chair, thinking hard about what he had just committed to. Ambassador Chen sat beside him, looking worried. "Tom, the Corvani are bred for war. Princess Vex has trained in combat since childhood. Their energy weapons can cut through steel plating." "I know the odds aren't good," Tom admitted. "But humans have won against worse odds before. We just have to be smarter, not stronger." 1 hour later, Tom floated in the center of the training facility's combat chamber. The room stretched 50 meters in every direction, filled with metal obstacles and debris to simulate a battlefield environment. Dozens of alien delegates watched through reinforced windows, their excited chatter creating a buzz of anticipation. Princess Vex entered the chamber wearing form-fitting armor that enhanced her already impressive height. She carried 2 energy rifles that crackled with purple lightning and moved through zero gravity like she had been born in space. Her 4 arms gave her advantages Tom could only imagine. "Human," she called across the chamber, "you still have time to surrender and save yourself pain." "Thanks for the offer," Tom replied, checking his single energy rifle, "but I think I'll see how this plays out." The station's computer announced the start of combat. Princess Vex immediately launched herself forward, firing rapid bursts of energy that lit up the chamber like purple fireworks. Tom dove behind a section of metal debris, feeling heat wash over him as the princess's shots barely missed. Vex moved with incredible speed, using her 4 arms to fire weapons while pulling herself along obstacles. Her shots were precise and powerful, designed to end fights quickly through overwhelming force. Tom realized that trying to match her firepower would be suicide. Instead, he did something the princess didn't expect. Instead of returning fire immediately, Tom began moving through the debris field, studying how objects drifted in zero gravity. When Vex fired at where she expected him to be, Tom was already somewhere else, using momentum and physics in ways that confused the warrior princess. "Stop running, human!" Vex shouted, frustration creeping into her voice. "Face me with honor." Tom grabbed a piece of loose metal debris and threw it hard toward another section of the chamber. Princess Vex tracked the movement and fired, destroying the debris in a shower of sparks. While she was distracted, Tom used the momentum from his throw to spin around a pillar and get behind her. His energy rifle fired once, hitting the princess in her back armor. The shot didn't penetrate her protection, but the impact sent her spinning out of control. Tom was already moving again before she could recover and return fire. For 20 minutes, the battle continued. Princess Vex grew more frustrated as her traditional tactics failed to work against Tom's unpredictable movement. She had trained to fight opponents who followed established combat rules. Tom fought like water, flowing around obstacles and striking from unexpected angles. Finally, Tom saw his chance. The princess had positioned herself near a large piece of debris, confident that her firepower could handle any attack. Tom grabbed several smaller pieces of metal and threw them in sequence, creating a chain reaction that sent the larger debris spinning toward Vex. She destroyed the debris with precise shots, but the explosion and fragments created a cloud of metal dust that interfered with her targeting systems. Tom used the confusion to get close, something no Corvani warrior expected an opponent to try. At close range, Tom's speed and smaller size became advantages. He moved inside the reach of her energy rifles, making them useless. The princess tried to grab him with her 4 arms, but Tom had trained in zero-gravity combat since joining Earth Fleet. He spun and twisted, staying just out of reach while landing precise shots on weak points in her armor. Finally, one of Tom's shots found a gap in the armor covering Princess Vex's shoulder. The energy bolt caused her to cry out and drop one of her weapons. Before she could recover, Tom had his rifle pointed at her head from just 2 meters away. "Yield," Tom said quietly. Princess Vex stared at him with all 4 eyes, her silver skin flushed darker with what looked like embarrassment. Around them, the watching alien delegates sat in shocked silence. No one seemed able to believe what they had just witnessed. "I yield," the princess said finally, her voice barely audible. The combat chamber fell completely silent. Tom lowered his weapon and offered his hand to help Princess Vex steady herself in the zero-gravity. She stared at his outstretched hand for a long moment before taking it. "How?" she asked. "Your weapon was inferior. Your armor was basic. You should not have been able to defeat me." Tom smiled. "Like I said before, adaptability has its own value. Sometimes the best strategy is not having a strategy at all." As they floated there in the aftermath of combat, Tom realized that winning the battle might have been the easy part. Now he had to figure out what to do with an alien princess who, according to ancient law, would be sharing his quarters for the next 7 days. The real challenge was just beginning. Tom's quarters on Crossroads Station were small and simple compared to the luxury suites where royal delegates usually stayed. The main room contained a basic desk, 2 chairs, and a food preparation unit. The sleeping area had one narrow bed designed for human proportions. Tom looked around his modest space and wondered how this arrangement would work. Princess Vex stood in the doorway, still wearing her damaged combat armor. Her silver skin seemed darker than usual, and she held herself stiffly as other alien delegates walked past in the corridor. Some whispered among themselves, clearly amazed that the proud Corvani princess was about to serve a human. "Your Highness," Tom said, "please come in." Vex entered slowly, her 4 arms crossed in what Tom was learning meant anger or shame in Corvani body language. She examined the small quarters with obvious distaste. "These accommodations are beneath my station," she said. "I am accustomed to rooms 10 times this size with proper facilities for one of royal blood." "I'm sorry the station doesn't have bigger quarters available," Tom replied. "But we can make this work. You can have the bed. I'll sleep on the floor." Princess Vex turned all 4 eyes toward him, confusion replacing anger on her features. "What did you say?" "The bed is yours. I'll make a sleeping area on the floor. It's not a problem. You would give up your sleeping place for me? But I am your servant now. The ancient laws are clear. I must accept whatever accommodations you provide, even if that means sleeping on cold metal." Tom shook his head. "Where I come from, we don't treat people that way. Especially not guests, even unexpected ones." "I am not a guest," Vex said firmly. "I am a defeated warrior bound by sacred oath to serve you. Your kindness is unnecessary and culturally inappropriate." "Maybe so, but it's how I was raised. My mother would have strong words for me if I made a lady sleep on the floor, regardless of the circumstances." Princess Vex sat heavily in one of the chairs, which groaned under her weight. She studied Tom with intense curiosity, as if he were a puzzle she couldn't solve. "Human customs are strange," she said finally. "Among my people, showing mercy to the defeated is seen as weakness. It undermines the victor's authority and brings shame upon both parties. Different worlds, different rules, Tom said, moving to the food preparation unit. Are you hungry? I can make something to eat while we figure this out. Over the next few hours, Tom learned more about Corvani culture than any human had ever documented. Princess Vex explained how her people valued strength above all else, and how their society was built on clear hierarchies established through combat. The concept of voluntary kindness between unequals was completely foreign to her. On Corvin Prime, I wake each day before dawn for combat training, Vex said as Tom prepared simple human food. I study military history, practice with weapons, and review tactical reports from our frontier wars. Every moment serves the purpose of making me a better warrior. Sounds exhausting, Tom said, handing her a plate of food. Don't you ever do things just for enjoyment? Enjoyment comes from victory in battle. What other pleasure could a warrior need? Tom thought about his own life back on Earth. Weekend trips to the mountains with friends, playing music with his sister, reading books that had nothing to do with fighting. The idea that someone could live without those simple joys made him sad. That evening, Tom set up a sleeping area on the floor using spare blankets from the storage compartment. Princess Vex watched with growing confusion as he worked to make his makeshift bed comfortable. This is wrong, she said for the third time. Sacred law demands that I serve you completely. If you show mercy, it dishonors us both. Maybe we can find a way to honor your traditions while still treating each other decently, Tom suggested. What if you consider this part of your service? You're helping me feel better about the situation by accepting the bed. Vex thought about this for several minutes. That is a clever interpretation. Very well, I will accept your sleeping arrangements as a form of service to your emotional needs. Tom smiled. Whatever works. The next morning, Tom woke to find Princess Vex already awake, sitting perfectly still in meditation pose. Her armor had been cleaned and repaired overnight, and she looked every inch the royal warrior again. Good morning, Tom said, stretching the stiffness out of his back. I have been thinking about yesterday's combat, Vex replied. Your fighting style defies every principle of warfare I was taught. You used the environment as a weapon, you refused direct confrontation when you were outgunned, and you turned your weaknesses into advantages. Tom began preparing breakfast. Human military history is full of examples like that. We've always been the smaller, weaker side in most conflicts. We had to learn to be creative. Show me, Vex said suddenly. Show you what? These historical examples. I wish to understand how your species developed such tactics. For the next several hours, Tom shared stories from human history. He told her about ancient battles where clever strategy defeated superior numbers, about how humans had learned to use technology and terrain to overcome stronger enemies. Vex listened with intense focus, asking detailed questions about specific tactics. Your ancestors were constantly at war with each other, she asked. Unfortunately, yes. Humans fought each other for thousands of years before we learned better ways to solve problems. Yet this made you stronger as a species? Tom thought carefully about his answer. The fighting itself didn't make us stronger. But learning to survive against overwhelming odds, developing new ways to think about problems, working together when we had to, those things helped us grow. Princess Vex stood and began pacing the small room, her 4 arms moving in complex gestures that Tom was learning indicated deep thought. The Corvani conquered our homeworld's other species through superior strength and discipline, she said. We never needed to be creative because we were already the strongest. Perhaps this made us rigid in our thinking. Before Tom could respond, the station's emergency alarm began blaring. Red lights flashed in the corridors, and the computer's voice echoed through the speakers. All personnel report to emergency stations. Unknown vessels approaching at high speed. All combat-capable individuals report to the command center immediately. Tom and Princess Vex rushed through the corridors along with dozens of other beings. The command center buzzed with activity as station personnel tried to understand what was happening. Admiral Knox, the station commander, stood before a large display showing space around Crossroads. 17 ships, unknown configuration, Knox announced. They're not responding to communications and they're moving in attack formation. All civilian vessels are being evacuated to safe distance. Tom studied the display. The approaching ships looked sleek and dangerous, with weapon signatures that made his pilot instincts scream warnings. Those are Ravager-class attack ships, Princess Vex said, her voice tense. Pirates who raid commerce vessels throughout this sector. I recognize their hull modifications. Admiral Knox turned toward her. Princess, what do you know about their tactics? They prefer overwhelming assault followed by boarding actions. Their ships are fast but lightly armored. They rely on speed and fear rather than sustained combat. Our defense fleet consists of 6 patrol ships, Knox said grimly. We're outnumbered almost 3-1. Tom stepped forward. Admiral, request permission to join the defense. Tom, you're a diplomatic observer. This isn't your fight. It is if they're attacking the station where peace talks are happening. Besides, someone needs to pilot the spare fighter in Bay 7. Knox looked like he wanted to argue, but the pirate ships were getting closer. Fine. Princess Vex, would your people be willing to assist in the station's defense? Vex drew herself to full height. I am bound by oath to serve this human for 4 more days. Where he goes, I follow. If he fights, I fight beside him. Within minutes, Tom found himself in the cockpit of a human fighter, with Princess Vex squeezed into the gunner's seat behind him. The ship wasn't designed for Corvani physiology, but she managed to operate the weapon systems with her usual efficiency. This is insane, Vex said as they launched from the station. I am royalty. I should be commanding fleets, not serving as a gunner for a human pilot. Consider it a learning experience, Tom replied, checking his instruments. Sometimes the best way to understand tactics is to see them from a different perspective. The first wave of pirate ships came in fast and aggressive, just as Princess Vex had predicted. The station's defense fleet engaged them at maximum range, but the pirates' superior numbers began to tell quickly. They're using standard pack tactics, Tom observed, watching the battle develop. Each group of ships covers the others while they rotate through attack runs. Efficient and proven, Vex agreed. My people use similar formations. Which means they'll expect the defenders to respond in standard ways too. Tom suddenly changed course, diving below the plane of battle while the other defense ships maintained formation above. Several pirate ships broke off to pursue him, seeing an easy target separated from the group. What are you doing? Vex demanded. You're isolating us from friendly support. Trust me, Tom said, heading straight toward the largest piece of space debris near the station. Remember yesterday's fight? Sometimes you have to get creative. As the pursuing pirates closed in, Tom flew directly into the debris field. Princess Vex gasped as chunks of metal and ice streamed past their viewports. The pirate ships followed, confident they could corner their prey in the maze of floating obstacles. But Tom had spent years flying through asteroid fields and ship graveyards. He knew how to use debris as both cover and weapon. When the first pirate ship got too close, Tom used his maneuvering thrusters to send a piece of metal spinning into its path. The collision damaged the pirate's engines and sent it tumbling out of control. Remarkable, Vex whispered, watching Tom thread their fighter between obstacles that would have destroyed a less skilled pilot. You're using the environment itself as a weapon. Just like in the combat trial, Tom said, lining up a shot on another pirate ship. Your turn, Princess. Show me some of that famous Corvani marksmanship. Princess Vex's shots were precise and devastating. Her 4 arms allowed her to operate multiple weapon systems simultaneously, and her warrior training showed in every targeted burst. Between Tom's flying and her shooting, they eliminated 3 pirate ships in the debris field. The success of their unconventional tactics inspired the other defense pilots. Instead of maintaining rigid formations, they began using the station's structure and nearby debris as tactical advantages. The pirates, expecting a traditional fight, found themselves outmaneuvered by opponents who refused to follow standard rules. Within an hour, the pirate attack was broken. The surviving enemy ships fled deeper into space, unwilling to face defenders who fought in ways they couldn't predict or counter. As Tom and Princess Vex returned to the station, she was unusually quiet. Finally, she spoke. "Today I learned something important," she said. "Strength alone is not enough. Intelligence and adaptability have their own power." "Your shooting saved us out there," Tom replied. "Traditional skills combined with new thinking, that's what made the difference." "Perhaps," Vex said thoughtfully, "there is more than one way to be a warrior." Back in their quarters that evening, the relationship between Tom and Princess Vex had changed in ways neither of them fully understood yet. They were no longer just human and alien, victor and defeated. They were becoming something new, partners who could learn from each other. The real transformation was just beginning. 6 days had passed since the combat trial, and Tom could hardly believe how much had changed. Princess Vex no longer sat stiffly in meditation each morning. Instead, she asked questions about human culture while sharing stories of life on Corvin Prime. Their conversations lasted late into the evening, covering everything from military strategy to family traditions. "Tomorrow marks the end of my service," Vex said as they finished their evening meal. "According to sacred law, I will be free to return to my duties as a royal princess." Tom nodded, though he felt oddly sad about the arrangement ending. "Will you be glad to get back to your normal life?" Princess Vex considered the question carefully. 6 days ago, I would have said yes without hesitation. Now I find myself uncertain. These have been the most educational days of my adult life." "You could always extend your stay voluntarily," Tom suggested. "The peace talks will continue for another few weeks." "A Corvani princess does not extend periods of servitude," Vex replied automatically. Then she paused. "Although perhaps I could request permission to study human tactical methods for military research purposes." Before Tom could respond, the door chimed with an urgent visitor signal. Tom opened it to find Admiral Knox standing in the corridor with a worried expression. "Tom, Princess Vex, I need you both in the command center immediately. We have a situation." They hurried through the station corridors, passing other delegates who looked concerned and confused. When they reached the command center, Tom saw why everyone seemed worried. The main display showed a massive fleet of ships approaching Crossroads Station. 47 vessels, heavy cruiser class and above, Admiral Knox announced. They appeared on long-range sensors 20 minutes ago. The lead ship is transmitting Corvani royal codes. Princess Vex stepped forward, studying the display with all 4 eyes wide. "Those are Imperial Navy markings. The lead ship is my father's flagship." "Your father?" Tom asked. "Emperor Drac of the Corvani Empire," Vex said, her voice tight with worry. "He rules over 15 star systems and commands the most powerful military force in this region of space." "What is he doing here?" The communication system crackled to life with a deep, authoritative voice that made the translator devices work overtime. "Crossroads Station, this is Emperor Drac of the Corvani Empire. I demand immediate transport to your facility and a private meeting with my daughter, Princess Vex. Any delay will be considered an insult to imperial dignity." Admiral Knox looked at Princess Vex. "Any idea what this is about?" Vex's silver skin had turned darker, a sign of distress that Tom had learned to recognize. "My father must have heard about the wager and my defeat. He has come to retrieve me and restore family honor." "That doesn't sound good," Tom said. "It is not. When a member of the royal family is humiliated, the emperor traditionally challenges the source of that humiliation to mortal combat. If he defeats you, it erases the shame of my loss." Tom felt his stomach drop. Fighting Princess Vex had been challenging enough. Facing the legendary Emperor Drac seemed like certain death. 1 hour later, Emperor Drac strode into the station's main reception hall. He stood even taller than his daughter, nearly 9 feet of silver-skinned muscle and controlled power. His 4 arms bore ceremonial weapons that looked capable of cutting through battleship armor. Royal guards flanked him on both sides, their faces hidden behind elaborate helmets. Princess Vex knelt as her father approached, following Corvani custom. Tom remained standing, uncertain about proper protocol for meeting alien royalty. "Father, your presence honors this station," Vex said formally. "Rise, daughter," Emperor Drac commanded. "I have traveled far to address the shame you have brought upon our family name. Where is the human who defeated you in combat?" Tom stepped forward. "I'm Tom Walker, your Imperial Majesty." Emperor Drac studied him with the same intense gaze as his daughter, but with far more hostility. "So small. So weak-looking. How did such a creature best a warrior princess of the royal blood?" "He fought with honor and skill," Princess Vex said quickly. "I was defeated fairly according to all sacred laws." "Nevertheless, the insult to our family must be answered," the Emperor declared. "Human, I challenge you to single combat. When I defeat you, my daughter's shame will be erased." Before Tom could respond, the station's emergency alarms began blaring again. Admiral Knox's voice echoed through the speakers. "All personnel to emergency stations. Multiple unknown fleets detected approaching from 3 directions. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Everyone rushed to the command center, where the displays showed a nightmare scenario. 3 separate fleets, each larger than Emperor Drac's force, were converging on Crossroads Station from different angles. 73 ships from the galactic north, Admiral Knox reported grimly. 81 ships from the west, and 94 ships from the south. Computer analysis identifies them as the Crimson Raiders, the most dangerous pirate alliance in known space. Emperor Drac studied the tactical display with professional interest. "The station cannot withstand such an assault. Even my fleet would be outnumbered 4 to 1. They're jamming all communication channels," Knox continued. "No one can call for reinforcements. Whatever we do, we have to do it with the ships we have." Tom looked at the display, his mind racing through possibilities. The combined Defender fleet was powerful but still badly outnumbered. Traditional tactics would lead to certain defeat. "Emperor Drac," Tom said suddenly, "what if we could change the odds?" The Emperor turned toward him with mild curiosity. "Explain your meaning, human." "The pirates are using the classic 3-pronged assault formation. It's designed to overwhelm static defenses through superior numbers. But what if we didn't fight defensively?" Princess Vex caught on immediately. "You want to use human tactics. Mobility and unpredictability instead of direct confrontation." "The station has maneuvering thrusters," Tom continued, warming to the idea. "If we rotate it at the right speed and timing, we can use its mass as a weapon while creating moving cover for our ships." Emperor Drac considered this for several moments. Such a strategy would require precise coordination between Corvani and human forces. "My commanders are not trained for such cooperation." "Then we need someone who can translate human tactics into Corvani military language," Tom said, looking at Princess Vex. "Absolutely not," Emperor Drac declared. "My daughter has already brought enough shame on our family. She will not participate in this battle." "Father," Princess Vex said firmly, "I have spent 6 days learning human tactical methods. I understand both approaches. If you want this strategy to succeed, you need me. A princess does not serve as a mere translator for aliens. A warrior serves wherever they can best help achieve victory," Vex replied, meeting her father's gaze steadily. For a long moment, father and daughter stared at each other. Finally, Emperor Drac nodded slowly. "Very well. But if this plan fails, the shame will fall upon both of you." The next hour was chaos as human and Corvani forces prepared for the most unconventional battle in either species' military history. Princess Vex worked tirelessly to explain Tom's strategy to the Corvani commanders, translating concepts like fluid response patterns and environmental weapon integration into terms the disciplined alien officers could understand. Tom coordinated with the human pilots, explaining how they would use the station's rotation to create unexpected attack angles while the Corvani ships provided heavy firepower support. The plan required split-second timing and perfect communication between forces that had never worked together before. When the pirate fleets arrived, they found Crossroads Station spinning slowly on its axis while defender ships moved in patterns that defied traditional military logic. The pirates began their assault expecting easy victory against conventional tactics. Instead, they faced something completely new. The spinning station created moving cover that protected defender ships at unexpected moments. When pirates tried to flank the station, they found Corvani heavy cruisers waiting in positions that should have been impossible to predict. Tom flew his fighter through the battle alongside Princess Vex, their partnership now seamless after days of working together. She called out tactical information while he piloted, both of them coordinating strikes with other human Corvani teams throughout the fleet. Third pirate group moving to attack Vector 7, Vex reported. I see them, Tom replied, changing course to intercept. Can you get a message to the Corvani squadron leader? Tell him to execute pattern Delta in 30 seconds. Princess Vex transmitted the information in her native language, and massive Corvani warships began moving into position just as Tom's fighter led a group of pirates into their firing range. Emperor Drac commanded the battle from his flagship, adapting quickly to the fluid style of human tactics. His natural strategic brilliance combined with Tom's unconventional thinking created a defense that the pirates couldn't counter. After 3 hours of fighting, the pirate alliance was broken. Dozens of enemy ships had been destroyed or disabled, while the defenders had lost only 6 vessels. The surviving pirates fled in different directions, their alliance shattered. In the aftermath, Emperor Drac requested a private meeting with Tom and Princess Vex. They met in the same reception hall where the Emperor had issued his challenge hours earlier. Human, the Emperor began, today you have shown me something I did not expect. Your tactics saved this station and many lives. More importantly, working with my daughter, you achieved victory that neither human nor Corvani forces could have won alone. Your Majesty, Tom replied, Princess Vex made the real difference. Without her ability to coordinate both sides, the plan would have failed. Emperor Drac looked at his daughter with new respect. You have learned much during your time of service. Perhaps more than I realized. Father, I request permission to remain at this station as a military observer, Princess Vex said. I believe both our species could benefit from continued cooperation and shared learning. The Emperor considered this for a long moment. Very well. But you will hold the rank of Admiral in our fleet and serve as official liaison to human forces. This is not continued servitude, but a position of honor. He turned back to Tom. Human, by the ancient laws of my people, I name you battle brother of the Corvani Empire. You have fought beside us with courage and wisdom. You will always be welcome in our territory. As the Emperor prepared to leave with most of his fleet, Princess Vex stood beside Tom watching the departure. I never thought this week would end with my father calling a human his battle brother, she said. I never thought it would end with me having an alien admiral as a friend, Tom replied. Is that what we are? Friends? Tom smiled. I think we're something new. Partners, maybe. Allies who learn that different doesn't mean inferior. Princess Vex nodded thoughtfully. The peace talks will establish formal treaties between our governments. But I think the real alliance started when you offered me your bed and treated a defeated enemy with kindness. Sometimes the best victories come from losing a wager, Tom said. Indeed, Princess Vex agreed. Sometimes losing everything leads to finding something much better. As they watched the stars beyond the station viewports, both of them knew that their friendship would change the future of human and Corvani relations. What had started as a simple wager had become the foundation for a new kind of cooperation between species. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place.